dedication, in our month of dedication. And our topic, brief topic for today, says dedication as a way of preservation. Dedication as a way of preservation. And our text is taken from the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel chapter 9 from verse 4 to 6. Ezekiel 9, 4 to 6, I read. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said in my hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Praise the Lord. Dedication as a way of preservation. From the text that we read, we could see that the state of the land was referred to as it is filled with abominations. The land was filled with abominations. There were so many things going on the land. People were doing all manner of wickedness as it is happening this day. You see a lot of people doing yahoo yahoo and they are defrauding and cheating other people. You see many people doing money rituals. They are ready to kill another human being like them. They are ready to use their friend, use anybody, use their family members to make money rituals. So many evil. People are ready. They have gone into kidnapping. They kidnap people for ransom. And they say, pay so amount. And then we'll release the man. We'll release the person that we have kidnapped. Many have gone into child trafficking. Of recent, we saw a video online where an old woman, aged woman, that you can never think of, selling children. Gathered up to like 7 children with her, tied them down and was selling them. She was caught. People, so many abominations going on in the land. Which one do you want to talk about? You talk about sexual immorality, perversion everywhere. So many evil. Now they legalize gay marriages. That a man can look at another man like himself and say, this is the one that I'm attracted to and this is the person I want to marry. Highly demonic. At times I wonder, what can a man look at another man like himself and appreciate, that will appreciate you, that will arouse you? Highly demonic, abomination. You see women having affairs, abomination. To the point that in some countries they legalize a woman having 2 husbands, getting married to 2 husbands. So many evil going on in the world. Abominations everywhere. So many things are coming up. They are inventing so many evils. Of recent, I saw an interview online where they said they call it truple. It's no longer couple, they call it truple. Where a man and a woman, husband and wife that are married, they will go and contract another lady, bring another lady into their home. That lady will be staying with them, sleeping on the same bed with them, doing everything with them. And they call it truple. They said all of them were smiling and they said they are living in peace. So many abominations. They do couple swap abroad. You see couples coming together, they agreement. You will exchange our wives, you go. After a month, you return my wife, I return your wife. So many evil, so many abominations. going on everywhere in the world. Just like it was stated in this place, the land was filled with abomination. And then you wonder, it will be very difficult to raise a child in such an environment and for that child to stand on the godly path of righteousness. Why? Because what they are seeing today is what? Abomination everywhere. And the way they are viewing the abomination, before you know it, it becomes a norm. It becomes a normal thing of the society. That is why you see little children now, a child of 11 to teenagers, when they say they are doing yahoo, they are doing this, that. What are they looking for? Because it has become a normal thing. A normal thing. You look at the street now, the way our ladies are dressing on the street now. 20 years, 30 years ago, if you dress like that, they will stone you. But now it has become a norm. A norm. It will be very difficult for you to raise a child, and that child will maintain the path of righteousness because of what? The abomination that is in the land. Everywhere was filled with abomination. And to the point that even some so-called Christians are lured into it. Some so-called Christians, they were lured into it. And they started living the way the people of the world were living. That was why God, when He gave that order, He said, you should start that judgment from where? From my sanctuary. Start the judgment from my sanctuary. I know that there are some people in my sanctuary that have also joined in the abomination of the land. And now you see a church will stand, a priest that is representing God will stand and be joining a man and a man together, will be joining a woman and a woman together, and they conduct a marriage in the house of God. Many Christians are copying the way of the world, and they are also engaging in the abominations that are going on in the world. But one thing we could see in this text was that irrespective of the way the whole land was filled with abomination, everybody was defiled and then living the way they like, there were still men. There were men in the land that were dedicated to God. There were still men in the land that said, no, we will not be a partaker of all this abomination. There were men in the land, it recorded in the text that they sighed at the abomination. That means they were angry, they were not happy. These men were not pleased. They sighed at the abomination, say, what is going on? How can people be living like this? They were not pleased, they were not happy. And they refused to join them. They said, I don't care whatever you want to do to me. If you want to persecute me, persecute me. If you like, don't give me the job. I cannot sleep with you. If you like, don't give me the contract. I will not join your cult. If you like, deprive me of my benefit. I will not join your godly group. I will stand because I am dedicated to my God. There were still men in the land. There were still men in the land that stood for the truth. There were still men in the land that stood for righteousness. There were still men in the land that dedicated their whole life to God, irrespective of all the abomination going on in the land. And the Bible recorded one thing. When destruction was about to visit the land, destruction was coming. Thousands of people would die. Calamity was to befall the city. It was recorded that God did one thing. God searched not for everybody in the sanctuary. God searched for not everybody that was called a Christian. God searched for not everybody that was called a pastor. But God searched for the men that said no. to abomination. The men that separated themselves, the men that were dedicated to God, the men that said, no, we refuse to defile ourselves. These were the men that God was searched for. And he said, wherever you meet them, you may not see them in the sanctuary, you may not see them in the church, but wherever you see them, put a mark on their forehead, a mark of preservation. Put it on their forehead. Dedication as a way of preservation. Put it on their forehead. Why? So that when calamity will come, when destruction will come, it was written that they should not go near anybody that carried the mark of preservation. Destruction must not visit them. Evil must not come near them. They must not fall victim of wicked men. They must be preserved. Why? Because they dedicated themselves to God. They were totally dedicated to God. And when the destruction came, they were all preserved. The people of the world, that is why the Bible says, they are wiser in their generation than the children of light. The people of the world. The people of the world anchor their preservation on dedication. They know. They anchor their preservation on dedication. They dedicate themselves to evil altars. They dedicate themselves to altars of darkness. Why? In order to preserve themselves. In order to preserve themselves. Do you know that it is not everybody that joined the coven of witches that was manipulated? No. There were people that submitted themselves. There are people that they were the one that looked for them. There are people that they are the one that say, I want to join. Why? Because I want to have power so that what I can be preserved. I want to have power so that I can fight back. So many things are going on in my life. I'm going through oppression. Come and give me this thing so I can fight back. I can preserve myself. And they joined and dedicate themselves to this evil altar because they were looking for preservation. Many boys in university that joined cult, they were not lured into it. There were some that said, I want to be among them so that I can be preserved from intimidation, so that I can be preserved from oppression. Let me belong to a group in order to preserve myself. And they join and dedicate themselves to all these evil altars. And one thing we need to know, that their dedication is always serious. Their dedication is always serious. They are determined to the core. Unlike we children of God that play with dedication, they don't joke with dedication. Whatever they are told to do, that is what they do. Whatever they are mandated to do, that is what they do. They can be given instruction. 1 a.m. at night, wake up, go to T junction, go there naked, and go and make a sacrifice. And they will carry it out. They will leave their home. That means for that person to be there by 1 o'clock, that person will leave before 1 o'clock. Wake up before 1 o'clock, leave his house before 1 o'clock to get to T junction and go and carry it out. But we as children of God, the Holy Spirit will wake you up on the bed. Say, stand, don't go out there, don't even go out. Just stand up in the midst of your room and pray. Don't go out. Don't go out naked. You are not going anywhere. Just inside your room there. Just stand up and pray. We'll change to the left, change to the right, to yawn, and you continue your sleep. We are the one that toy with our dedication. It is very, very important to be dedicated. And one thing that we know, some Christians are also engaging in it. If you must know, some Christians are engaging in the altar of darkness in order to preserve themselves. Some people believe that once I am not using it to do evil, I'm not using it to kill a man, I'm not using it to bring down a man, it is okay. They don't say anything bad in it. Yet they are Christian. Just like the story our general overseer told us. He was a Christian. He was going to church. But in the church, they will not know what he was doing. He said while he was a lecturer, he was seeking for preservation. And what did he do? He went to meet a juju priest and told him that he needs a jar for preservation, protection from accident. And the man said, no problem. I will give you the one that will preserve you from accident. And he was given. Then a few weeks later, he went back. I don't know what he wanted to do. He went back to check the man. As he checked upon the man, they said, where is Baba? He said, see, Baba. Why is Baba on bandage, hand and leg? They say, Baba. Praise the Lord. They say, Baba had accident. That was when he now knew that, see this man that gave me something that will preserve me from accident. He is now the one that falling a victim of accident. That was when he came to his senses and said, no, this thing is not working. He went back and threw it away. Many people, even in the church, are still engaging in preservation using the altars of darkness. They say they are not using it for evil, it's okay. My brother, it is not okay at all, at all. It is never okay at all, at all. The devil offers no free service. No. The devil offers no free service. What you are going there for is a transaction. You need preservation, you need your soul. So whatever you are doing, you are transacting your soul with whatever you are getting. So we should be mindful of this.